Hi there, it's Wade McMaster here. I've got another video for you today. I'm going to be going through and exploring the various modules of the Divi Builder, which is part of the Divi theme for WordPress. Now, if you're not familiar with this theme, it's basically a customizable WordPress theme that has this excellent page builder and allows you, for one, to build completely customized pages, allows you to basically customize the template of your site and even build a complete templates using the Divi Theme Builder, which is basically their page builder extended into a theme building interface, so that way you can actually set up a custom template for your site for certain types of pages. It could be pages, posts, archives, and it allows you to completely customize how your website looks, and that way you can still just use your basic editor for the main information. Very powerful theme, awesome tool. I've actually got a video on the theme builder itself, but with all these awesome options that we have in the Divi theme to customize our site, you may not actually understand what is available to you. So I'm just going to go create a new page here, and we're going to open up the Divi Visual Builder, and we're going to start just adding in some modules and showing you what they do, because that way you can actually see how it works and see what your options are if you're going to be building complex pages. So I'm just going to type in, we're just going to go test page for now and use the Divi Builder. And we're just going to start from scratch, but I'm going to touch on a few things as we're going through, so that way you can see what options are available to you. So this is my main site, and you can see I use the Divi theme for my main site. Now, you do get greeted with a screen, which is pretty cool. You can clone an existing page. This can be good if you decide you want to change your home page. You can actually create a new page and clone that home page, make all the updates you want on it, save it, and then when you're ready, go back to your home page and simply go in and replace it with the page you've built. So it's cool for being able to make updates to your site that you can keep aside until you're ready to basically publish it. You've got this pre-made layout here. If I click on this, build from scratch will simply pop us into a blank page, which I will actually do in a minute, but you can see we've got all these options that come with the theme, different layouts that we can start with, all using the same modules we're going to be going through. So you can go in and make the changes you need and edit and customize things. For example, if I go in here, I've actually got a series of different layouts that we can choose to work with. So you actually got a lot to start off with even before you start building your page. I'm actually going to X this and just start from scratch. Now, this is not something I've actually rehearsed. I'm just basically going to be exploring this, and we're going to go through one by one and check it all out. I'll touch on some of these very quickly. I won't go into the depths of it, just give you a basic idea of what you can do. But if you're not familiar with this, basically the page starts off, you can start laying down rows. I can create another row here and lay rows down the page. So as these rows are laid down vertically, within each row we can add in columns. So we've got this green section here. I can add in, say, 2 columns here. I'll just click off that. I can then add another one, maybe 3 columns. And you can see we can just add in different levels and amounts of columns within our rows. And also within this row here, I can change the background if I want to. I can add an image. So I can upload using the WordPress uploader, or I can even grab an image from somewhere. So, if we might have, say, this image here, and pop that in the background. You got all these other options. You can make a parallax effect out of it, so that way when you scroll it moves up and down. We might explore that later, just because there's not enough on the page to scroll with yet. And you can even change the way it blends with the images beneath it. At the moment, because it's a white background, it doesn't really blend much, but you sort of get the idea. We can even add a gradient, pop it over the background image, so that way maybe we choose a black, and over here we choose black again, but we make it transparent. And anyway, you get the idea. I've actually didn't choose the black, but we can actually set up cool little backgrounds in these areas here, and we can add modules into our columns. So I'm literally just going to start from the top and work our way down. So if I click here to the little gray button, I get my list of modules. Like I said, some of these I'll touch on very briefly. Now, to give you an idea, we're going to go through this one a little bit, because I'll show you exactly how the interface works while exploring the Accordion. So I'm going to click on Accordion here, and you'll see we've got 2 modules to the left. So the way the accordion works is, let's say I'm going to copy a large body of text. I've actually got two areas here. I can go here, I can delete. I'm just going to change the visual editor. Now this is all the same options as your classic WordPress editor. I can paste this in here. I can hit enter, start a new line, make this a heading if I want to. Title might be, here's your first option. Option, not open. Maybe I want to add an image in here. So add, say, some random picture on here. So add this Primal Food Co. And that's our first. We're going to click tick. And I'm going to go here. We've got another option. So we'll go option 2. I'm going to pop in the same text again. And the idea is with this accordion that I can create clickable areas which open and close. And basically you can choose which section you want to read. So maybe I'll duplicate this and just say option 3 free. And we basically get this cool little areas here that we can switch between. Now, one thing you've probably noticed is this isn't really suitable for long bodies of text. So just while we're demonstrating this, I am going to shorten this a bit. Each one's just going to have a shorter amount of text just so we can check out what it is we're doing. So now you can see we get this 1, 2, 3. So that is basically the accordion. It's like a little tabbed area where you can open and close various bits of information. We've actually got 2 open at the moment. We can close that top one, close, open. As you can see, the background is stretching and moving as we're doing this too, as it's enlarging. So it's you get some pretty nifty effects with this. Now, I can't close all of these, but you get the idea. The accordion is like a little tabbed area where you can put bits of information. Now, we do also, I'm going to explore this just a little bit for you right now. There is a full design section here. I will touch on it very quickly, but I'm going to go through it more in depth in another video, show you how to more completely customize some of the modules that you have, because basically it's there's so many options in here, and a lot of them are the same across the board. So I'm going to do a particular video on that. And also in your display, you've got areas here like you can assign CSS IDs and classes. If you're into CSS, you can then also add some custom CSS rules. Visibility, you can turn it off on tablet, phone. If you turn it off on desktop, it becomes transparent to show you that it's not there. So you can actually disable it on certain devices, which is basically judging by the width of the tablet. You got all these little options here, and I'm going to explore some of these also in another video, such as the scroll effects and animation, all coming in future videos. For now, I just want to touch on what the modules are and what they do. But basically on every module you get these 3 tabs, which is design is where you customize the look, advanced is where you do apply more advanced bits and pieces to what it is you're doing, and yeah, basically you get these cool little animations and things like that. But the content is the main area we're looking at to show you the functionality of these modules. So under link, you can add a module link. So if anyone clicks anywhere in this module, it goes to that page. We can decide to change the background color of the full module if we want to. We'll keep it transparent. If you want to change the actual toggles themselves, you can make the background color yellow on an open toggle, red on a closed toggle. So you got some different little options like that. Okay, so we're done with that accordion module for now. So I'm just going to go in here. We're going to open up one of the shorter ones. This doesn't look too good at the moment. Not exactly the most attractive looking module, so I might just delete it for now. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see here, as I mentioned before, you got your row, columns, and the module itself. The blue is basically the row, which is the horizontal element. The green is a column, so that was where you lay down your columns. And then, of course, the gray is your module. So you can click here and move it across and around to another area, such as down here, or in the center, I should say. You can duplicate it. So I've actually created 2 of these now. or you can remove. You can even add it to a library. So if you create something you're going to use again, you can save it to the library. Then, of course, you've got all these other options, like you can copy certain styles, lock it in place. So many different options. But I'm going to delete that altogether. Now let's look at another module. Okay, this time we have the audio module. So the way this works is if you have an audio file, so let's go test audio, track. Artist name is John. Album is Big John's album. Now, what I'm going to do is on the audio here, we actually add in a file. Now, one thing I've noticed here is that we've got some white on white text. It's because of the way I have something set up. This website's actually set up for that in particular, so it's not really working for the video. But if I go into the background here, I can make the background black or blue. I'll keep it black because it matches the theme. And now you can see how this is starting to look. Now, if I go into image, I can add an image. It sort of acts like a cover image for the actual audio. So let's say we're going to choose this little hand and clock. So you get this cool image here. And like I said, we've got your background. You can have a background image if you wish to as well, such as this Nike tick. But it obviously is not going to be the best look, so it's going to stick with black for now. Got your normal background options, which we'll go through in another module. And basically, you want to add an audio file here. Now, I don't have any audio files here to upload. So basically, I'll just quickly grab something. Okay, so I've grabbed MP3 online. So I'm just going to basically drag this across and upload it. So we've uploaded our audio file. And now we have this little audio player. So I'm hit play. I can track a little bit. Because I'm in the builder, I can't actually track at the moment. It doesn't really like it. You sort of get the idea. So we've got this nice little audio player here on our page with not exactly the most fitting image, but yeah, it's there. So you can set up little audio players like that on your website. This is great if you have a podcast or you've got some music you're trying to get out there. So it's perfect for doing that kind of thing. Now I'm going to move across over here to this side and add another module. I'm going to go bar counters. So the way this works is you can actually set up this cool kind of like bar counters. So if you've got like maybe you're trying to reach 1,000 followers on all your various social media platforms. So let's say we've got Facebook, and say you've got 770 followers, so you'll go 77%. I can actually duplicate this again, go in. I can also set up a link on here, which is pretty cool. But I'm going to go in Instagram. Maybe we have more on Instagram, so we'll go 90%. Duplicate again. Twitter at 40%. And we'll add a new one. We'll go TikTok, 20%. So we've got these cool little bars. It's hard to see the writing at the moment, but we can still play with that. We can choose to give the whole element a background if we want to, say black or red. We might actually just stick with black, and we'll make it, if I click on this, make it semi-transparent. So you can see how the bars are working there. Now the cool thing about Divi is when you have this interface here with a few different options, if I click on this cog for Facebook, I can actually give the background color its own value on this one. I'm going to leave that one for now, but maybe what I might do is under design, on the bar, I might change that color to blue. You can see we've got a little 77% there. I click on Instagram, go to design, or maybe I'll make that color this purple. Twitter, we'll change the bar color to, we'll go blue again, but then I'm going to just adjust it a bit. We'll leave TikTok as white. However, there's a few, we can go to percentage text down here, make that black to show up on the white. So you can create these cool little bar graphs here. And a lot of the time they actually animate. So if I go to design here, go to animation, I can have it slide in, have it flip, zoom. So you got like all these cool little animation that'll show up when the page is loaded, and yeah, you just got some cool options there. And if you explore this, you can see how you can further customize different areas of it, add shadows to the text, that sort of thing. I'm going to go OK. So now I'm actually back into it for a minute. I'm going to go back into the design, and the text here, which is showing up as gray, is showing up as dark. I'm going to change that to light so it shows up. And we sort of get the idea. We've got this nice little bar. It shows off certain stats that we want to show off. As you can see on Facebook, I removed the background completely, but I kept a light black, transparent black here. And it's just a cool way to sort of get some numbers across and go from there. So very handy, very cool. Like I said, plenty of other options here to play with. That's the bar graph. So that's a cool little thing that you can add onto your pages there. So I'm actually going to add another module underneath because this one's pretty short. And this one is blog. So as you can see, I can actually create a blog page here. I've got a list of blogs. What I'm going to do for the sake of this video is to show you how it works. So I can do this and create a series of blog posts. Now what I'm going to do very quickly, I'm going to just tick that. I'm going to add underneath here, if I scroll down enough, I'm going to add in another full width column. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to try and drag it into this full width column because I can move things around quite easily. So now you can see I've got this full width blog segment here which has some of my actual blog posts on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change this around and show you some of the different options. For one, I'm going to have the design and layout, and you don't have just the full width option, but you also have a grid option. This allows you to have sort of three, like a grid of blog posts on the page. I personally prefer full width, so I'm going to go back to that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to content here. I'm going to make the post count 1. So if you have a home page and you only want to show your latest blog post, you can simply display the one blog post. And then what I'm going to do, now I've only got the one, I'm going to move it back up here just for the sake of demonstrating and continue from there. Now, if I go into here, I can choose to only show certain categories. So maybe I only want to show design tips. And it shows this one instead. I can add in other categories. I can take out the excerpt altogether. So all we have is the image. Oh, wait, sorry. That is also under elements here. We've got to turn that off down here. So show excerpt, we turn that off. You can see here we've got older entries there. Because I'm only want to show one, I'm going to turn that off because I don't want to show that either. I don't want to show the date, categories, author. I do want to show a read more button. So a little read more button there. Now this you can customize. I've also got some coding already set on this, which is why this is sort of doing this weird hover effect. But because I'm using my actual website, some of the CSS, global CSS I've set in the theme customizer is just playing with that a little bit. But I can also turn off the featured image altogether if I want to, and just have the title and the read more. So you've got a few options there for showcasing your blog post. Like I said, you can change the background to white, and you can basically have a play with that. It's all pretty straightforward. But yeah, you can add in a full blog functionality onto a page, and you can even play, if I come down here, see the read more text, I've got some options there to style that. Under spacing, I can add in some padding at the top. I want to link that up. Maybe I want to give 20 left, 20 right. So maybe I want to pad that up a little bit. So we've got a few options there to make that work for us. So that's a blog post section there. We've got our graphs. And we're going to move down to this full width section again, see what it gives us. All right, I'm actually going to move this one up above, and I'm going to add a blurb. So a blurb is pretty much just a simple little area of text with an image. So I can give this, so you might decide that you want to have 3 on a page. Maybe you are running a business and you're going to offer 3 basic services. So I might say service 1, you offer this cool service. And then we're going to go to the image and icon. I can use an icon instead of the image, which is pretty cool. And they have a whole host of icons here. So maybe it's going to be this one. The left aligned isn't looking too good with that icon. So I'm going to go to design, get circle icon. So I can actually create a circle behind the icon. Now this could be an image, as you saw before, that gray image before. You can see it's aligned. I can go left, right, center. With the text, I can also center that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this and create our 3 services. So obviously I can make this service 2 and service 3 if you get that idea. For now, I'm just going to go through and see what we can do. Maybe we'll choose something else, maybe a $sign. Like I said, if you want to choose an image instead, we'll go image for this one. And we'll just say this one here. And you can see you got an image there. Now, well, here's another really cool feature. I will go back for a minute. I will change that into an icon just for a bit of consistency. I can actually do certain changes to these and apply them across. So let's say I go down to the background here and I make the background white. What I can do, I can actually even turn off that background. Go to a gradient. I'll make go white, and this color will also go white, but I'll make it transparent. And I can flip the gradient around. Start position comes up, end position comes down. And we can see that color isn't quite transparent. So maybe we create like something like this. Now, if I want to, I can hover over this and I can copy the background, go in here, and I can paste that background. So you can actually copy and paste your style. I can even take this whole item here and extend blurb styles throughout this page to all blurbs. And you can see we've got the same style across the board. Because I didn't have the background here, I've just moved it across to there. Another cool thing we can do is if we want to just have this one section be colored, I can actually select this columned area here and choose maybe a white background again. Maybe I decide I want that to be slightly transparent on the page. Or I can actually do the individual columns themselves. So maybe I'll choose a white again. Now you can see we've got some top and bottom issues there, but that's just a simple case of me going into, I've got to do the spacing here first. So first of all, I'm going to add in 20 pixels padding top and bottom there, but I can actually grab this here and remove the padding from top and bottom so we have this cool little effect here. And I can then, of course, move those settings across, but you're getting the idea for now. So I'm going to keep moving downwards here. So I'm going to do a little plus module here, and we're going to see what else we've got. A button. Now this is pretty simple. Click here, it's a button. I can give it a link. So maybe we want to go http www.google.com. I can open it in a new tab, and maybe I want to say visit Google here. Now you can see we've got the button off to the left here. Now once again, I can go into alignment and center it. The text, I can make the text, this is once again the style of my website. So even though it says dark, it's showing up as white. I can change all these different options, spacing. I can decide to add a bit more spacing left and right. So I'll go 100 pixels left, link it up, and we have this big wide button. Add a shadow on the outside. So you've got so many options here that you can play with. It's really, really handy. So you sort of get the idea. We've got a button there. So now we're going to add a new row and keep moving from there. So I'm going to go down to this blue plus here, and I'm going to go regular. We'll create another regular row. So I'm going to we'll go 2 columns again. And this time I'm going to start straight away. We've got a call to action. So what I might do is I'm going to make this background here black. So you can see our page is starting to take shape a little bit here. It doesn't look overly fantastic, but it's taking shape. Now, once again, because this website is styled to have white text in a lot of these areas, it's actually showing up as white here. But what I'm going to do for the sake of this, I'm going to take the title text, I'm going to make it blue. And then and also, as you can see, we can adjust the various levels of heading that we have. But the body text I'm going to make black. So we've got this cool little call to action. The other thing that is cool about it is if I have this background, I can turn the background off altogether and make that body text white. Or if I don't like what I've done with our style, I can actually go down to the color here, hover over it, which you can see we've got mobile, options for different devices, options for when we hover. I'm just going to remove the settings altogether, and same with the title text. So we can style that pretty easily. Now, if I want to add a link, we've got text here, I've got our button. So maybe we're going to say, here is our offer. I'm going to turn the caps off. And you can say, sign up. And then you can add your link in here, which for now I'm just going to add a hash. It can be a link to any page on your website, but you've got your sign up. Maybe I want the button to stand out, so I'm going to go to my button settings, customize it, make the background color red. So you can create these cool little call to actions. Now, one thing about a lot of these is even though it has basic things like title, button, and then you're moving down from there, you still have your classic editor. So I can still go in here and add media and add in any images that I want to see. So I'm not just stuck with the one format, and I can still even go into design. I can go into border, and maybe I want to create a border around the whole thing of a couple of pixels. And I can sort of border off this offer. Once again, if I play with the spacing and padding, I can get this a bit better around the outside. But I'm not going to worry about that. We'll sort of keep moving. But you get the idea. You can create a call to action. So this is just one module where you can just have title, a bit of text, and then get people to sign up for something. So it's pretty cool. So on to the next column over here. As you can see, we've got the call to action. I have to start moving a bit quicker now because we've got all these to go through. But some of these we can touch on pretty quickly. Now the circle counter is a little bit different, something you probably haven't seen before. The circle counter allows me to go, so maybe, like I said before, maybe we're trying to reach 1,000 followers on Instagram. Followers, I can say 50%. Now, I can make it a percent sign, or I can make it just no percent sign. So that's a pretty handy thing. Let's go into design. I can make that text, number text, I can make that blue. I can also change some of the elements here. So on the circle color can be blue again, it can be green, maybe it's white. Circle background color can be black, or maybe I want to make it just a little bit lighter so we can see that outside there. Circle background, we can sort of change that opacity a little bit. So we've got the option here to change a few bits and pieces. Now Instagram followers here is in the title. It is in black, so I'm going to go to my title text, make that white. So we have this cool little sort of circle counter here. And of course, another cool thing to do is have some animation there. So as it appears, we get this, which is pretty groovy. So that's another cool feature. Obviously, it's only very small on the page. I do believe there are some sizing options, so I can make it bigger if I want to. Now, when you load the page, this animation does show up. So if you have people you're trying to sort of capture their attention, they load this page, boom, that can load up as well with that little animation. So that is pretty cool. So I'm going to keep on going down the page here. I'm going to add another module. Code. Now this one here, I'll just add quickly and remove. But the basic idea is I can add HTML code in here. That's basically it. You pop your code in there, render it, and so if you've got like an iframe or some ad code, it's quite easy to add in there. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to bin that code module. But it's still there. Another handy thing too, if you're not sure if something is there, there's a little button down here. If I open or close this, a little layers button. I can go through to each of my sections, find what I need. I've got my code module here. I can bin that here, close that off. So I'm going to keep exploring from there. Comments. So if you have any comments on your page, you can add those on there. So this is just basically like the comments of a blog section. You can put those anywhere on the page you like. So that way, if people want to leave a comment, you can control where they go on the page, which is pretty cool. This is good if you're using the theme builder. You can actually create your customized blog post template, put the comments where you want them to go, which is also pretty cool. So yeah, very, very standard sort of styling. I haven't got any comments on this page, so I can't go through it, but that's basically what it is. Contact form. Now, the contact form in this is actually quite powerful. It starts off with this basic form. You got a little capture math formula there. I can decide to turn that off if I want to. Spam protection. We can actually use a spam service, such as reCAPTCHA. So you can actually go through and add in a Google reCAPTCHA, which is a relatively new function of this, which is pretty cool. So yeah, a really cool way to protect your contact forms. But you've got so many options here. You can completely customize this form. I can add a new field. So we've got our field ID. I'm going to call this one. So I might say, I'm just going to call it random because I don't have a name for it. The title might be random. Now with our field options, I can make a minimum length. So that way it has to be a certain amount of characters or a maximum length. We can only allow certain symbols if we want to. We can make it required or not required. One thing that is cool is conditional logic. I can have things like rules like name needs to, maybe the email address needs to be less than, so it does not contain the letter A for this to enable. So I won't go through too much of that, but you get the idea. You can go through and set up conditional logic, so certain fields will appear or disappear depending on what you've entered in the rest of the form. So if you've got a fairly in-depth form, you can add a lot of rules in there for certain fields to show up. You can change the background on this one area. You can even go into design here, and with the field, you can make the whole field red, or you can make it black again, and even give it like just a little underline outline. So maybe I go down to border, go to underline, and I'll make that white. And see we've got this cool stylized little area here we can use to type in for our form. So very cool contact form. You can create as many fields as you want. You can duplicate fields. Now you can see here we've got these little 50/50s here. So maybe on the second email address, I'm going to go in under design and layout and make that full width. So you got some pretty cool options there. You've got also different types of fields, email, text, checkbox. So we can add checkboxes in there. I'll just quickly make that text. I'll make the text color. It's all right. Work on that a little later, but if I want to add in some checkboxes, I can add a new field here. Option 2, so that way they can check those boxes, or I can make it something completely different. So I'll get tick. It's going to get back here for a sec. So I do want to change the text. I'm actually going to style this in here just to get this quickly on the go. So that is now white. Add new field. We've got radio buttons, so you can add in radio buttons. Drop down. So there's actually you might not even necessarily need to install any contact form software on your website if you're using Divi, because you can basically build a contact form just using its standard features. So that's a very powerful thing added to Divi as well. So the next module, I'm going to go down, starting to get through it now. I've got a countdown timer. So let's say we've got something happening on the 22nd of May. You say Big D's birthday. Now, the background at the moment, I'm going to make that blue. So it'll actually count down. So if you've got a product launch, you can actually go say maybe a product launch. you can say, okay, I want to launch the product at 4:30 in the afternoon. And this will count down to that time, which is a really cool feature. Like I said, product launches, that sort of thing. And it allows you to realistically set an actual time and not just put a fake timer on there. You can add a background if you want to as well. So maybe we're going to go into the image here. Just going to add in this here. Add an image blend. So we'll go maybe overlay. So we've got this cool effect here with our little countdown timer. So that's just using the basic features of, your basic features of the theme. It's pretty cool, pretty easy to make some really effective stuff. So we've got our product launch countdown happening here. Now, one thing I'm going to do while we're doing this, I'm going to save this draft. And we're going to move on to the next one. A divider, this is just a simple line. So show divider, I can go to the line, I can make it white, or maybe I can make it green, and I can go to sizing and change the thickness. I can even change the width a bit if I want to, center it. So we've got this cool little divider section. I actually use this a bit for breaking up text, so that's pretty handy, pretty straightforward. Email opt-in. Now, this is really cool because a lot of us out there are email marketing. Once again, we've got spam protection, so I can go into the background here. I'm going to turn off use background colors just so it's transparent. So if you actually have a full row set up and you have like an image on the right, because there is an image module you can use. So let's say we're going to we're going to add in a new row here. I'm going to go a regular, and we're going to go 50-50 again. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to cut ahead a little bit to image module. And we're going to pop an image on here. So let's say this is our product, Primal Food Co. Our background is going to be another image. We'll just go with this for now. And we want to have this set up as our little email opt-in. So I'll go into here and go free diet guide, sign up to download the button, download now, or maybe we want to say sign up and download now. Whoops. Now that was actually dynamic content, which means that if you set this up on your theme builder, I can actually add in something like a page link or the website title or even the page and archive title. So that's something for the theme builder, which I've covered in another video. Just thought I'd show that to you while we're at it. The footer, we can add in something like we never sell your information. Now the email account, not too hard to set up. If you've got MailChimp, ConvertKit, you've got all these options here. So we go to MailChimp, we can select a list. This is something you set up in the Divi Theme options, something for another video, but you can link it all up so that way it's all integrated. Very handy, very cool. And one thing I just thought of then, in the footer, I want that to be centered. So success action. You can display a message or redirect to a page. Spam protection, again, you can use a spam service such as reCAPTCHA and link up your account. You can, this is a common thing where you can set it up so if you click on this, it links somewhere else. Don't necessarily want to do that if you want people to sign up to email. So you got some pretty handy stuff here. Like I said, I can pop an image in here if I want to. Sign up to download, I can go and pop an image in there or use any of the basic WordPress editor functionality and it'll pop up in here. So that's how we're able to create a nice little opt-in area using that email opt-in and the image module. So let's go back up and we'll fill this space. So we've got to the email opt-in, a filterable portfolio. If you have basically a series of projects, this is something you can use to sort of show them off. Now this is something that I'll have to show you on another area. So what I'll do, I'll just bring up another website of mine. Now this is actually a website of my website. I've actually got a portfolio set up on here. Because I don't have any projects on that other website, this website has a portfolio section here for website designs and logos and graphic design. What the Filterable portfolio does is it allows you to filter between these. So I can actually add in different set categories, and you can click and turn off and on these different categories. So all these would be in the same spot, but you can go through and turn them on and off. Sort of can't really display it right now because I'd have to set that up. Although maybe if I just log in here, I can quickly set that up for you. So I'm going to actually just pause this video for a second, set that up so I can show you what the Filterable portfolio looks like, and we can get back to our page. Okay, so now I'm actually editing the page. I'm going to add in a Filterable portfolio just down the bottom here. So we'll go down, Filterable portfolio. And I can choose to include certain categories or exclude certain categories. I might say have 50 posts on there. And this is for, there's a custom post type that comes with the Divi theme called projects. So you can see here, everything is just one by one. So if I open up the options, I've got a few different things here. For one, I can actually turn the title, I can turn off the categories if I want to, or the pagination. And maybe on the layout, I'm going to change it from full width to a grid, similar to the blog section. So you can see here now that we've got this portfolio. I can go straight to logo design only, graphic design, art. We got this cool filterable portfolio section here where you can simply go through and click on the various areas that you want to look at. So that is the filterable portfolio using the Divi theme. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is a gallery. So just like a WordPress gallery, a little bit more functionality. We can go and create a gallery here, add a bunch of images. So maybe I just want to add these 5 very boring images in here. 6. I can change the order. It can be at random. So you can see we create this little gallery. It only shows 4 there. I can actually change that to show only 2 at a time, and you scroll through, or maybe I make it 6. And we can change, the columns will actually change if I decide to add in another full width section in here and move this gallery in there. It'll actually give us 4 columns. So you can go in there, have as many images as you want, you can move the images around, and they do show up in a nice little pop-up. So when you click on the image, it shows up, usually sort of the screen darkens and you get a full view, so it sort of animates onto the screen for you to look at. So that's a pretty cool feature. The gallery, you know, you've got your options for the grid. You can have a gallery slider. So it simply goes across. So you don't have to have just the grid, it can be a slider of images. Very, very cool. And yeah, pretty handy. So that is the gallery. We'll keep it on the slider for now and go from there. So the next one we're going to look at now, if I go back up into this little blank space, since we've had the gallery, is an image. We've done the image, a login. So this is just like a WordPress login form you can add to your site. Title goes here. So if you want them to be able to log into the website, quite simple, easy to do. So log into the website, gain access. And then of course, once it's done, you can redirect to the current page, or yeah, you've got a few different options there. So that's just a simple login that you can add up if you want to set up a WordPress login on your site. Very easy to do. Let's continue down here. We're going to add a module at the bottom. Get our login, map. Now you do need your Google Maps API set up for this, which does cost a bit of money. But if you want to add a pin, so I can go to say, let's say King Street, Harvey Bay. So that's the title. I'll call it, say, 90 King Street, Harvey Bay. On the map, we're going to go here and find, and it will usually bring it up. But we do need to actually get the Google Maps API for this. So I actually generally just use the iframe these days for it. As you can see here, we do need a Google API map, but we don't have it here for this website, unfortunately. So I'm going to trash that one. Next one we're going to do is a menu. So we can add in, if you've got a custom menu created for your website, you can add a menu in there. obviously there's a few different options. You can create as many menus as you want and add them onto your site. Now these are also, I believe they're responsive where they bring up your little hamburger icons if you get too close. For the too narrow a screen, it activates like it's a word I'm looking for, like your actual normal navigation. You can add a logo in. So let's say we've got this logo somewhere. Well, if you've got this primal one again. So we've got our logo, we've got a menu there. Maybe we want to, again, we'll go full width. Close that off. Drag that into our little full width area there. We got our logo. Now you can adjust the size, and obviously you wouldn't want a logo have so much space top and bottom. But of course, I can go left aligned, centered with the menu underneath. Whoops, I'm getting a bit too fast here. We'll go back to left aligned, logo. So we can actually round the corners of the logo if we want to. So maybe we'll go 50, round those corners. Sizing, that's what we're looking for, the logo width. We'll knock that down. You see we got our menu over here. So yeah, you can create a nice little menu section here, pretty straightforward. Yeah, nothing too exciting. Background, once again, choose a black background. Menu text can be white. That's the active link color. Just the normal menu text will be down here somewhere. So text color, light. We've got our menu there. There's a lot more options to customize that. Something to be explored. Definitely if you're using the theme builder, this is a really good function to use. Have a bit of a play with that one if you get the chance. So add another module in here. Number counter. So this is another counter similar to the circle, only without a circle. So we can say, one thing we can do is turn off the percent sign. And because it doesn't have a circle, we can say 987 kittens saved today. Go to the design, title text can be yellow. So there's our little number counter. We saved a bunch of kittens today. We're good to go. Okay, I'm going to add another 3 columns in here, just to have a play with. And underneath our number counter, we're going to go with a person. So we can go Mr. Awesome, create a position for them. Maybe they're the manager. And we can add in social media links here for this person. So I'm just going to add in some just some hashtags in here. Not hashtags, but hash to give it something to look at. So this is my profile. So this is perfect for adding personnel to a site. Now, once again, I want the text to be a light color. And you can see we've got little icons here to check out their profile, add the background. Maybe if I want to, maybe I'll make that white and I'll go back into the text. I'll go dark again. And then of course, on the image, we can add a picture of the person in question. So maybe we can go this one here, that's a picture of me. So you get a picture of the person, you got some information. And of course, we can play with the design a little bit. We can actually make the go 50, maybe 50%, create a circle here. Now this is playing up a little bit because I'm recording, it's using up a lot of memory, but you can create just a little profile here, center this information under the person. Very cool, very handy. Again, portfolio, same as what I showed in the other website, where we're just, instead of it being filtered, it's just a normal portfolio. Post navigation. So we can simply navigate within a category. We can have previous or next. So that way, website traffic tips. So that is sort of like the page before. So that way, if you're creating a post using the Divi Builder, you can actually put this at the bottom, and that way people can go left and right through your posts and go sort of like to the previous, to the next as they read. So that's a cool little feature if you're designing for your blog posts using the theme builder. Post slider. Now this is a pretty cool feature. We'll go all categories. You can see it comes up with this slider. Now I put a lot of text in my featured images, so this isn't really suitable for what we're doing. But if I go into, I can turn off the excerpt. Button has read more. We'll go date new to old. Let's switch that up. We'll go old to new. Now under elements, we can keep the arrows. Or turn off the arrows. Turn off the post meta. Featured image, we want that in the background, but we can turn that off. This is starting to play up a little bit now. I've been recording for a while. So you can see here we get this cool little slide through. This cool little slider. I can pop the image at the top. Whoops. And then at the background, I can just make that black. So you've got a few options with the featured image. You can go to the left. Of course, this isn't a very big area, so it default treats it like a stacked mobile sort of section, so I'll pop it here. You can see we've got this left aligned featured image info on the right. So you can create these cool post sliders for your blog as well if you really want to show off those blog posts. This is how many modules there are in the Divi theme. This is just a huge, so much functionality available. Post title, now this is another thing it can be, it's just simply putting the page title on the page. Pricing tables, this is a very cool thing if you're trying to sell. Once again, I'm going to go up to the Fullwidth section here. And you can see you can add in this little pricing table. Now what's really cool is if I duplicate this, first of all, what we're going to do, we're going to get text. I want to make this text darker, so featured header, oh, that's not what we're doing here. So let's go into this center section here. Now what we want to do, you can go in there and add features in here, more features. You can add a price, so the price might be 500. Now, you can't see that at the moment because it's got a bit of white on white, but we'll get to that in a minute. This is the featured table. So you can see we can create a featured tier that sort of lifts off from the rest of the table. And of course, we can go through and customize these areas. You can customize them individually in here if you wish to. So you can go in, title text can be red, and the background there, and you can change the text color to yellow if you want to. If I'm on just the pricing table overall, oops. Just to note that because I'm recording this, it is playing up a little bit, so I do apologize for any confusion that might cause. Let's just zoom out a little bit. So, currency and frequency text, we can go red with the currency. Price text, we'll make that blue on the featured and on the normal. So we go blue, the background, and the text, and then the pricing area background will just go purple. So you can, that's very ugly, but you can fully customize this pricing table, and then you can even add a button on there if you want to as well. So let's say we go into this center one here, the button, we can say sign up, and then the link will go here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this for the moment, and I'm going to open and re-edit soon, so hopefully we can get rid of some of these performance issues. So I'm just going to pause this video for a second. Okay, so we're back running here again, and we just looked at the pricing table, and the next one's pretty easy. We've got our search, so we can add a little search area in here, and I can make the field placeholder color. I can make that blue, background color white. The good news is now is I can add a placeholder in there. I can turn the button off or leave it there, and I can actually exclude categories or exclude pages in altogether, or exclude posts. So I can choose to search only posts or pages. One thing to note is I don't have WooCommerce installed. Now I do believe you can create a product search this way as well, but because of the way I have this set up, it's not actually that option is not available at the moment. But you can fully customize this search area, so it can be good if you want to create a dedicated search area on your page. Now I'm going to add another section in here. Some of these we're going to we're not going to have to touch on. Shop, this just adds a WooCommerce shop on there. Like I said, I don't have WooCommerce installed, so I can't actually really show you that one right now. But a sidebar, so if you're creating a layout and you want to use a widgetized sidebar, one of the things that's very cool is I can add my normal sidebar in here, which will show up in a second. So if I'm creating once again in the theme builder, I can create this and actually put my sidebar in there and use it like a WordPress sidebar. Or, which I can't actually show you here necessarily, but you can create in your widget area. If I just go in the new tab, I can create a new widget area here. So I'm going to call it new widget area, create that. And when that pops up, I can use it just like a normal widget area, which I'll refresh. You see we've got our new widget area here where I can use. So that means if I go back, I can choose that here, which is not there because I would have to refresh the builder, but I would choose that area there and I can create a widgetized area within the page that I can go into and change there, which is pretty handy. So the next one we're going to look at is, let's go back in social media follow. Now this is pretty handy as well. So you've got your Facebook, Twitter. Now, what's cool about this is I can change the alignment, obviously. I can change the icon, custom icon size. I can make them quite large. I can go into the border and I can change this as well. Maybe I want to make it 50%. I can make them circles and I can add in a number of different social media platforms. So I've got Google+. Oops. So we'll go Google+, which is obviously defunct now, but you can see all the different platforms we have. Instagram, Skype, MySpace, Dribble, YouTube. So you can go in and create all these nice little share buttons that are pretty cool and yeah, just pretty handy. You can even customize. You can add in follow text next to each one. Very cool, very handy. There's a few things to go through here, but another cool thing you can create so that way you can get people onto your social media within your page. So we'll keep scrolling down, social media, tabs, so you can create a tabbed area. Set up similar to the accordion. I can create multiple tabbed areas. I can go, this is 3, tab 2, maybe I want to copy that. And then as before, I can click on the tab, it'll change information underneath. So similar to the accordion, not quite as fancy and animated, but pretty much the same functionality where you're creating information that goes under various tabbed areas. All right, so let's keep going there. Tab Testimonial. Once again, you can add the photo in here. So let's go to Image, add a photo. I'll add this person here. Joe's a customer from Upco. I was very upset with this. That's his testimonial. Like I said, we've got his image, we've got elements, we've got the quote icon, we turn that on or off. A link, we can create a company link URL. So I'll just go a little hash. So if we click on that, I can change the background. Maybe I want to add a background image of some sort. So we'll go, let's go with this. So we've got a background image. Obviously that doesn't look too good, so we'll bin that. But there's so many options here for this little testimonial area you can create. Of course, the quote icon, we can change that custom to change the colors around for that if we wish. And that way you can get something that really stands out. Customize quote icon size. You can make it as big or as little as you want. The image, again, we can actually make that bigger, taller. Completely turn off the rounding of the corners, make it square. So we've got our little testimonial there, so you can add those in quite easily. I'm going to get rid of this sidebar because I've got it set to sticky, and I'm going to add something else in there. text. Now this is just a basic text module. This is probably one of the things you'll use a hell of a lot because you can simply go in. I can make that background white if I want to. I can add in some padding. So let's just go, say 30. And I can just use a basic text section here in the middle of the page and do what I need to with it. Change the background to red, white. And of course, I can set up all my styles for the headings. And this is the same for all of them. All of the modules that have text areas on them, I can change the color of the links to red. So that way, if I create a link, just as you would in WordPress, the link is red. So the text, very, very useful because a lot of us use text on websites. But keep going from there. Like I said, all these can be completely customized. You can spend the time getting them how you want. And now the toggle, similar to the accordion again, where we have a simple toggle, but this time we're only adding one at a time. So I can say, read this, and I have this option here, state. I can have it set to closed or have it set to open. And then of course they have to click to close it. You can actually have it set to a predetermined state, which is pretty cool. And of course with the toggle, we can have the background color when it's open white and the closed background color black. So if black opens, it becomes white. That sort of thing. We can style that how we want to. So you can add as many of those as you want. So that way you can even pop them across the screen or in different areas of the site. Very handy. I use one on my web design site for finer details. That way it doesn't bloat up the page vertically, but they can click on it, read if they want to. And now I've actually got a few more to go through after this. Not a lot, just a few more, but I can add in a video. So let's say I've got a YouTube video in here. We've actually got one there. They've linked up. But if I want to, let's say I'm going to keep that YouTube video there. Once again, I can bin this, add a video. I can insert from a URL and put the YouTube link in here. I'll just close that for a second. Now what's really cool is with the overlay, you can actually pop an image in there. So let's say we want to add a different image than the one that's on YouTube. So let's say we'll go with this weird square icon. And we get this cool, much more minimalistic look. When they click on that, it switches to the video and plays like a normal YouTube video. So that's a very cool little feature, and that can be, once again, put into a full width column, put about just about anywhere on your page. And you do have a few options here to style the play icon. So let's say we go, okay. I'll just reapply that overlay so it shows up. Obviously, once you've clicked the overlay and it disappears, but the play icon, you can change the color. That's the overlay, play icon, there we go. So you can play with that a little bit. There's a few other options here. You can add a shadow. Pretty cool way of embedding videos into a site. That way, before they click anything, it looks nice, clean, professional. And finally, a video slider. So we can add a number of videos on here. So let's say we've got the first video here. We're going to create a overlay for that. We'll go with this one. Tick. I'm going to duplicate that video. Oops. Duplicate that video. I'm going to change this background to something else. So now we have a video slider where they can pick the video they want to watch, go back and forth between the two. And obviously, you have different videos. This is going to change as you do it, so it's going to look different, but you sort of get the basic idea. A nice little video slider could be handy. Instead of popping a whole bunch of videos on a page, just have them slide through and pick the video they want. Now, the controls, you got a few options there. Not a lot of options being video because all you're doing is displaying a video, but still very cool. Okay, so that's the majority of the modules that you have, but there are a few more because what happens with Divi is we've been using standard rows. They also have a feature with called the full width row. If you look at these rows, even though the background is full width, everything is confined within a certain space. So if I go here, I can add in a full width row. We get just a handful. Full width code is basically, like I said, code that stretches the full width of the column. So right from edge to edge, a full width image. This is a really good way to demonstrate how how full width row works, that image becomes the full width of the page regardless of how big it is. So that's a very handy tool if you want to pop an image there, have it be the full width regardless, and yeah, very cool. Now, there's a few other things here. Full width portfolio. I don't have anything in my portfolio to show. As you can see, no results. But it's just another version of the portfolio I showed you earlier. But I think the styling's a little bit different where the images are touching. They're all connected like a chess, kind of like a chess grid, but with all your various images. And then another full width. Full width post title, so you can pop in your post title in there. You can pop a slider in there. So you can create various slides with backgrounds. So let's just quickly pop some background images in there. Once again, we'll try this. So you can create a slide. So let's say we'll go that there. We'll go in here. Choose another background. This time we'll just choose the color blue. So you can create a little slideshow series that goes through. So maybe on our blue slide, we want to change a few things around. Obviously, you can change the various areas as normal. Link to a page if you want to. You've got overlays. So you've got a few different options. The other thing is you can add in image. So we've got an image here. So maybe we'll add in this, add in this one again. So we can add a left image here for the slider, similar to the post. Or I can move this, add a video. So you can create these cool sliders, and you can change, I believe somewhere there's something you can change the layout, but without going into it too much, sort of getting the idea. Adding a slideshow to your page is very easy. Full width slideshow, very handy. And of course, if you want to do something but you feel this is a bit too strong, we can go back in here to the background. And of course, we can change the blend mode if we want to darken, or that won't make a difference. Hard light, that brightened it up a little bit, but you're sort of getting the idea. Luminosity, and then maybe you want to add a gradient over the top like we did earlier. So we'll go add a gradient, and we'll make this. See, it's behind, it's created this cool effect. So instead, we're going to go over above the image, and yeah. So we've got a few different things you can play with here, but you sort of get the idea. There's a lot of options here. The final one is add full width again. Full width map like earlier. Full width menu just like earlier. Now the full width header is something that I use a fair bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit this. I'll show you an example of the full width header, and then that'll be pretty much a wrap on the video. So I'm going to save this draft. Exit. And you can see we've got our page here. You can see these animated on screen. If you were there fast enough, these popped up. We've got our nice sliders here, our animated circle, product launch. Everything is exactly as we laid it out. We've got our nice little animations. It's very handy, very cool. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to home. I'll show you this. Basically, I'll show you this full width header. So you get these options. You can left align, right align. I won't go right into it right now. I'm going to do a dedicated video to the header, but it's a cool thing to add to some of your home pages. Now, this is, I've set this up to be a certain width, a certain height, top and above and below, and you can create two buttons. The first one takes you to a start more page. The second one just simply scrolls you down. But you can create background images and some parallax. I'll show you quickly what I mean with the parallax. I'll go to Enable Visual Builder. If I click on this full width header, now with my background, it's actually in the background of the row. But I'm create a parallax effect. So that way, as we scroll, we get that cool thing, that cool effect how it moves on the screen. It kind of ruins some of this here, so you can see how I've set that up. But we do get a very cool effect if that's something you're looking to play with. And something else you can do with this header is we can go to Design, and we can make it a full screen header. So that makes it by default the full height of the screen. So whatever height the screen is, it will take up that full height, create this cool sort of effect. So you do have some pretty cool nifty options there in this. The other thing too is there are things like a scroll down icon which we can show, and that automatically scrolls you down to the next tab. I've actually done that myself here with the Learn More. And of course, there's so many options with this header. It's a great option to really customize and create some impact when people land on your site. So maybe I want to add in another logo. Add in the old logo from the old. So we can add another logo in here under there for the header image. So you've got a few options there. And like I said, under text here, we've got our different two buttons. You can add in another title here, a subtitle there as well, some text. So you can see we've got create more, grow your brand sitting in there. There's a lot you can do with it. Now with the layout, we can align left. I've centered this on the text, so it's sitting in the center. You can align right, center, turn off full screen. There's so many options you can play with. Now I've actually done this on my main web design site, where it has a full screen header, and I've got the same two button layout again. And this is what I used to run my full-time freelance business. Same thing again, as you can see, I like this formula, but it's a full screen header, so it doesn't matter what height it is, it takes up that full screen. So it's very handy, very cool. Now I'm going to exit this and discard because I want to keep my homepage the way it was. But I hope you found that video useful. It's a very long video. Something I don't usually do is very, very long videos, but it shows you exactly the modules of Divi. So if you were thinking about checking out the Divi theme, but you didn't want to commit any money to it, this video is sort of designed for you to check out. Now, if you do want to go check out the Divi theme, you can either buy it or you can actually go in and check it out. I believe there's a free tryout area there. Check out the link. I'll pop it up on the screen. This is an affiliate link, by the way. I do make a commission if you happen to buy, but this is the theme I use. This is what I use for everything. Like I said, I've built a good 100 websites with it. My website's built on it. I couldn't recommend it more. And yeah, if you decide to go through with it, you won't regret it. And I will be coming up with a lot more videos in the future showing you how to use this theme. So if you like the video, please give it a like. If you want more like this, especially videos around Divi, please subscribe, and I can then see that you want more of these videos and do more of them for you, and you'll know when they come out. Otherwise, have a good day, and I hope to talk to you again soon. All right, see you later.